You ever find a VHS tape in the back of a rental store that feels like it's actually sweating? That's Dolly. It's a movie that wants to be your worst nightmare, but half the time it feels like it's just trying to dare you not to turn it off. We've seen the backwoods cannibal family trope run into the ground since Hooper first started his first chainsaw in '74, but Dolly decides to add a layer of nursery rhyme perversion that'll make you want to shower with steel wool. It's a Texas Chainsaw tribute act playing a dive bar set at 2 a.m. It's loud, it's messy, it's got a weird smell, and despite the fact that the lead character has the survival instincts of a suicidal lemming, you can't quite look away. Grab a stiff drink, folks. We're heading to Tennessee, and trust me, the milk is definitely spoiled. The flick looks like it's dragged through the gutter in 1978 and left to dry in the sun. Director Rod Blackhurst went for that gritty Super 16 aesthetic, and for the most part, it lands. It's got that yellow, sickly heat haze that makes you feel dehydrated just watching it. The score isn't music so much as it is sound of industrial machinery having a panic attack, which perfectly matches the high contrast, grime streaked lighting. It's an analog soul trapped in a digital era, even if that soul starts to leak a little CGI around the edges when the gore gets a little too ambitious for its own good. All right, let's crack this thing open and see why Macy should have just stayed home and swiped left on the whole idea of motherhood. And here's a play-by-play of Dolly. We're introduced to Macy, played by Fabianne Therese, and Russ, played by Seann William Scott. They're on a road trip and there's a ring in Russ's pocket. And this is where the movie starts to try to have a meaning behind it. Macy's hesitance isn't just about Russ, it's about his daughter. These are the thematic seeds that the film tries to plant. Macy isn't sure she wants to be a mom, which makes the upcoming daughter role she's forced into a bit of cruel irony. They go into the woods where Russ will probably try to propose, but he's interrupted by the sound of a toy radio in the woods. So that can't be good, right? Classic horror trope. He goes off trail to see where the noise is coming from. In a why are you doing that moment? Seann William Scott, he plays it straight. And he's pretty likable in this, but this probably would have been a 20-minute short if they had an ounce of street smarts or wood smarts. This is where he meets Dolly, the titular character. Now, Dolly is played by Max the Impaler, a female professional wrestler. I believe she's in NWA at the moment, and she plays it with a physical force, a bit of a charismatic, overpowering sense that, you know, Gunnar Hansen would be known for in the original Texas Chain Saw Massacre, or Kane Hodder in his few times as Jason. She does a great job as Dolly here, both intimidating and a little frightening, and she takes out Seann William Scott like it's nothing. She takes a shovel, breaks his leg with it, and then puts it right on his mouth and jams it in there. His jaw is just hanging off. But he's not dead. But that first encounter sets the tone. High tension, low logic. Now, there's some controversy about this, like the fetishism noise. There's like involving diapers and spankings. Is it edgelord or is it just effective discomfort? It feels like the director is poking the audience with a stick to see who flinches. Apparently, in the UK tabloids, people are claiming that they're barfing in the aisles. A lot of hardcore horror fans were calling this out as like manufactured hype or boomer bait. I mean, the spoiled milk scene is pretty rancid, but it's no Terrifier 2. So I kind of agree with that. The manufactured hype for a movie that's already gross enough on its own merits. You don't need that. And the marketing promised 100% practical effects. And the jaw scene involving Seann William Scott, there is some digital stitching to it, but I think it looks terrific. You could tell, and that's what I like about practical effects today. Use practical effects, use a little digital majesty to kind of make it even better. I think the blend of the two is great. But there are some blood spatter effects that I think were pretty digital. and I never liked digital blood. Now let's talk about the shock of seeing Stifler in a gritty horror flick. I thought he was pretty good in this when he could talk with his jaw. And the practical jaw hanging effect, like, it shows him just slumped on a tree, and I figure he was just dead. I mean, for a budget this small, having Seann William Scott in it, it probably took a bunch of their budget away. But he lives, and showing that jaw hanging off and him trying to talk with it, I think it was pretty good effects, especially for such a small budget horror flick. But at the end, he's finally dispatched by having the jaw completely ripped off. Like, that killed him? All right. And like I said before, Max the Impaler playing Dolly is like a Gunnar Hansen / Kane Hodder level of physical performance. Intimidating as hell. Fabianne Therese as Macy, the final girl, is the anchor in this. She's resilient, and I think she does a pretty good job with the performance. She acts her ass off, even when the script makes her do frustratingly inept things. And there's a guy in a room that is trying to escape, trying to get Macy to let him go. He's kept in the house like a pet. He calls a dead guy in that room his brother. Is this a family or a collection of victims who gave up? It's messy. I didn't really understand that part. He acted like he was related to Dolly, but I don't know, it's left kind of messy, and I kind of think it's up for interpretation. But he's dispatched with a Mortal Kombat chest punch fatality, like a gaping hole in his chest that the camera looks through to see Macy. I think it kind of breaks the more grounded reality of the film, but it's a crowd pleaser. It's a badass kill. And then there's some forced breastfeeding, and there's a nipple biting off scene. And this is where the movie leans into that perverse territory that separates it from standard slashers. Take that for what you will. I like the look of this movie. It's got that Super 16 grain. It feels sweaty. Instead of a Texas Chain Saw Massacre, this is the Tennessee Shovel Massacre. To address the competency porn backlash, the Macy knocks Dolly down with the shovel multiple times, never goes for like a finishing blow. Very, very frustrating for people who watch a lot of horror movies, or none at all, I guess. It's a shovel, Macy. It's not a pool noodle. Swing through the fences. And then there's like the ending part. You got like a park ranger who's a total dumb character death. He just stands there like a fucking idiot and gets killed by Dolly. I'm like, okay. He's just chilling outside his truck while a maniac is on the loose, all right? What are you gonna do? Get in the truck? Drive off? Then Macy takes the truck and runs over Dolly and runs her over just once. I'm like, come on, go over a few times, No, she gets out of the car and she gets the ring, that's the full circle moment. She didn't know she's going to accept his proposal. She does by taking the ring off Dolly and putting on her finger. Of course, you're expecting Dolly to wake up and grab her or whatever and kill her, or whatever the trope is. But this is the fake out, and the movie decides to be grounded after that Mortal Kombat punch through the chest. It's like, oh, she got ran over and she's probably dead. She got ran over once. No jump scare. And the final shot, Macy is driving off maniacally laughing and screaming. A laugh scream. This part's kind of like a pale imitation of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But as ripoffs go, I think this is one of the better ones. It feels kind of earned through the hell that Macy just went through. When the screen finally cuts to black and that ringing in your ear starts to fade, you're left with a movie that's essentially a pitch black Rorschach test on commitment. Director Rod Blackhurst isn't just trying to gross you out with spoiled milk and Mortal Kombat fatalities. He's taking Macy's fear of domesticity, that am I ready to be a mother anxiety, and twisting it into a literal house of horrors. It's not exactly a highbrow social commentary, but there's a nasty symmetry to a woman who's afraid of a toddler's tantrum being hunted by a giant in a diaper. It's just a reminder that things we're most afraid of becoming are usually the things that end up chasing us through the woods with a shovel. So who is Dolly for? If you're a casual viewer looking for a fun Friday night jump scare, this is going to feel like a frontal lobotomy. You'll hate the logic, and you'll probably want to bleach your eyes after that nursery scene. But for the cult, the folks who keep a worn-out copy of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre on the shelf and think gritty is a personality trait, This is a solid Saturday night watch. It's for the practical effects nerds who can forgive a little CGI if the jaw ripping looks wet enough. It's a late night, lights off kind of experience that rewards you for having a high tolerance for the uncomfortably weird. And look, it's a derivative piece of work. It's leaning so hard on Tobe Hooper, it's practically tipping over. And the vomiting warnings were a cheap marketing trick that we all saw coming a mile away. But between Seann William Scott's surprisingly tragic performance and Max the Impaler's powerhouse presence, Dolly manages to carve its own bloody little horror of the subgenre. It's frustrating, it's perverse, and it's arguably the best Texas Chain Saw knockoff we've seen in a while. I'm giving Dolly 3 out of 5 stars. It's a nasty bit of business that'll leave you feeling a little greasy, just the way a good exploitation flick should. But what did you think of Dolly? Let me know down in the comments below. And check out one of these other videos by my head. And I'll see you next time.